Hi, friends. My name is Host Eric. I'm host of Talking with Famous People. And I'm going to title this video President Trump, Make Me Press Secretary. Here's the thing. As I watch things unfold with the Mueller investigation and other matters that are of great concern to the press, I'm struck by how poorly the current press secretary is managing the White House's response to all of this stuff. So, I've been somewhat critical of Trump in the past. I'm not a Trump hater by any means. I have been mostly critical, though, about his communication more than about his policies, some of which I like and some of which I don't. But I do believe that the man's heart's in the right place regarding a lot of stuff. That he genuinely is doing what he thinks is best for America. And, that in that regard, he's a patriot. I would additionally say that if I were going to respond to this Mueller investigation stuff, and I were press secretary, the way I'd want to approach it is pretty straightforward. I'd simply say, look, prior to becoming the candidate of the Republican Party for president, Trump was engaged in a long series of business dealings with all kinds of people, all kinds of places, including in Russia. Now, if you're doing business high enough up in Russia, that means you're going to be doing business with the oligarchs, basically. You might not call them oligarchs, I don't know. Kleptocrats, whatever. Putin being Exhibit A. So, that's to be understood that if you're going to do serious business in Russia, put a big tower up in Moscow, then it's going to involve, greasing of palms and so forth with various government people. And if you're famous enough and big enough of a name, you probably will get involved with Putin himself in some regard. Maybe get to meet the guy, whatever. Now, that doesn't mean Trump's in Russia's pocket at all. And there's nothing that he's done that's indicated he is. It doesn't prove that he did anything worthy of severe condemnation at all. Worthy of any condemnation. It just proves that he's a businessman who was dealing at a high level in business dealings with Russia. The big news, the big bombshell is that there were conversations between Manafort and people in Russia about maybe he'd get to meet the Prime Minister of Putin. So what? A meeting was scheduled. So what? And at some point, his advisors indicated to him that this was a bad idea. And so at that point, the meeting was canceled, as was appropriate at that point, because he was the Republican nominee. The problem here, of course, lies in the cover-up. Cover-up always gets people in trouble, especially when the crime's not even a crime. But in lying to the prosecutors and stuff, some of the individuals around Mr. Trump have gotten themselves in some serious trouble. And Mr. Trump's understandably annoyed that all of this focus is happening to uncover a non-crime. I think it's also worth pointing out, and I'm not one to say that we ought to direct our energy towards defeated foes, but Hillary Clinton actually did commit some serious fucking crimes. Bernie Sanders should have been the nominee, except Hillary Clinton fixed the democratic process. In the Democratic Party, she fixed the processes of democracy so that she would win no matter what, the primary. That's what she did. She cheated to win the primary. Now, look, I'm not an ideologue, and I'm not a person who cares a lot about let's make enemies and hate the people who oppose us and stuff like that. And I think that that's one thing that I can help this administration with, is get that message across. If Trump would allow me to manage his messaging, things would be vastly different. Much better for him. Much, much better. And of course, much better for everybody. Because the funny thing is, if you manage the narrative, then you manage reality itself. So it's like, by changing the way that people talk and think about Trump and what's going on, the reality of Trump and what's going on becomes different in a lot of different subtle ways. So Trump, make me your press secretary. I hope you watch this video. I'll do a kick-ass job for you. I can do a better job than anybody else in this country at being your press secretary.